Welcome, Collider fans, to the second episode of the Collider The Walking Dead recap show. I'm John Rocha. I'm out of my mind. I'm recovering. I don't even know if I have the words, but we have to go and do the show right after this amazing episode. And we thank you for watching us right now and commiserating with us as we weep over the death of Glenn. The death of Glenn. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We love to hear from you guys. I don't even know what to say, right?
Stumbling,
I'm
John.
stumbling because it's driving me insane. Listen, we love to hear from you guys. You want to tweet us? Tweet at us at what? A Collider Video or John Campia, however you want to tweet us. But make sure the hashtag says Collider Walking Dead. We want to hear what you think about what happened in the episode. Want to hear what you think about Glenn. Maybe do some reminiscing. Some remembrances. Maybe a great eulogy you'd like to put on there in 140 characters or less. It'd be kind of fun. But I'm joined, as I always am, on the show by two of the biggest Walking Dead fans walking the earth.
I'm not going to laugh again the rest of the
episode. You guys introduce yourselves. Quinn?
Oh, hey guys, what's up? I'm Quinn Marie. Super stoked to talk about this episode. Worst episode ever.
And to the right.
Hey guys, it's Josh Macuga. I don't know.
Okay. Come on.
No, I'm kidding. It was really and truly an unbelievably well done episode. Just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
This is like you're in love with your girlfriend forever, and you just know that you have to break up for some stupid reason or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with Glenn today, and that was just tragic. You're watching that scene, you're seeing it, and you think, something has to happen. He has to get out of there.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't.
All right. Well, there's so much to talk about on the show. Let's figure this all out. Let's go step by step through the show, 'cause so much happened. It isn't just the Glenn. There was also some furthering of storylines, characters, what have you. There was also some new places explored, new sets seen, and then we've got stuff with Nicholas. We got stuff with Heath. We got stuff. We got stuff with the guy who gave his note. Tried to give his note for Betsy. There's so much that happened in the episode. Mm-hmm. So let's
just
bring
him the guy that got bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't.
They keep better. What's
a local
funny?
hire is what I'll call it.
Yeah, is that these people have been ancillary a lot of the episodes. We know their faces.
Yeah.
They've never really talked before. Yeah. And in classic Walking Dead form, as soon as they open their mouth, they get bit.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
This guy seems like crap.
As soon as you see them on screen, they either do something stupid, or they say something stupid, or they fall down, or they get hurt, and then you're like, oh, they're probably gonna die.
Yeah, and if you're a Star Trek fan, it's very akin to like the red shirt. The red shirts, the people that wore the old school Star Trek series. If you wore the red shirt, you were dead. That was the joke. So it seems like this is if you're like red somebody they haven't seen before, as soon as he starts talking, like the guy at the beginning was like questioning Rick's leadership, and what happened to him? He got his throat taken out by a walker. Yep. And this proves my point. If you question Rick's leadership, you're not long for the show.
No.
Yep.
Morgan, I think you're next. Regardless of what anybody's saying, I think Morgan is next. Anyway, all right. Let's start.
The
Josh.
Comments just.
I know.
This guy's an idiot.
Hey, let me talk about his mother. Josh, tell us some of the things you liked about the show, the episode.
I loved. There were. What was really great about this episode? It was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Because every time you thought that something was okay, a herd of walkers came out, and how they formed the herd of walkers and that abandoned town that they went into. A very, very movie cinematically done episode. I think my favorite part of this episode was just visually a stunning episode.
Yeah. Okay. Quinn?
What I liked about this episode is I said this last week as well, but the gap between the Alexandrians and Rick's crew is just like, the contrast is like more and more every episode.
Daryl's outside.
And Michonne's speech to Heath really got to me. That was my favorite part, because they're constantly complaining, they're constantly questioning them. They know what's up. The Alexandrians don't, and every time they question them, it's like they're like puppies. They have to see it in order to really grasp exactly what's going on. So I enjoyed her role in tonight's episode a lot.
I'm blanking right now. What is the name of the actress that just won the Emmy for Scandal?
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis. That Michonne scene.
That's not Scandal. That's How to Get Away with Murder.
How to Get Away with Murder.
Right.
Sorry.
Let's
sorry.
not make
Get
that
it.
mistake. We're not going to get in trouble on this show.
My bad. Michonne.
Yeah.
Viola Davis that was she had the pursing lip, like the pouting lip, and she was up in his face like, I is important. She went to help, full on monologue in that. And was it the best writing? No, but it was really well acted. I mean, she
made a lot of really, really good points.
And if somebody's in your face like that,
exactly,
you're not going to talk back.
And just to further that, I mean, she tells him, you don't know, you weren't out there, we've been out there, don't question Rick. You've never experienced it, you've never been covered in blood, you've never seen your friends die. And then what happens right away, or right after that, he has to watch that guy who got bit die in front of him, and he kind of is like, oh, you guys were right again.
Yeah. Well, this is very clear about the show. Like you get this idea that this is they're having to drag these Alexandrians into the reality of their world. Piece by piece, step by step, whatever it takes. And it's great because it's great for dramatic purposes on the show because you've got these people going, oh, you guys are too serious. You guys are way too. You guys are doing it way too cruelly. Right. And because we've seen this progression for numerous characters that are now cast members on the show to see them be like, I mean, Carol was a battered wife who wouldn't raise a finger to hurt anything, and then now she's the baddest ass on the show, and those are the things that happen through the progression of this whole series.
That's what I love about the show. The evolution of the characters.
And another one that got go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking maybe, I guess it's not a problem that I have, or just a thought is, so of most of these people that have been in Alexandria this whole time, what were they doing before they got to Alexandria that they weren't in like the same kind of maelstrom that Rick and crew have been in?
Right.
Where they are like, oh, we got to Alexandria and we've just been civilized since. Did they just luck out and end up in Alexandria?
I think
and they
so.
Built that?
Well, with Aaron, if we remember from the previous season, like Aaron has said, they had established Alexandria very early. Deanna and her husband, they designed how to build the walls. She was a senator, I think, and designed. So these people probably didn't have to experience it at the level Rick did because they immediately built a compound.
Yeah.
So they immediately built a safe haven for themselves, and then they would send people out to go and find other people to bring into town because you need bodies to help do stuff around the town who they trusted or could be trusted and hadn't been exposed to the darker areas of
and it's
being
one thing
out
to
there.
venture out and to be able to like go back to your safe spot, but to just be out and be left and not know, like Rick's crew, they've never had to experience that, I don't think.
Right. Well, some of the things that I liked about the show, to me tonight, I thought, to go along with what you said, Josh, I thought the camera work was fantastic on the show. Made you feel the tension, the constant moving behind objects like you were in the room. The handheld work was done so well to build the tension.
I mean, there were so many times we were watching it where we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit was uttered many times.
Many times,
yes.
especially once really loudly
that
by
herd of
all three of
walkers
us.
is
It's scary.
This really has been the first episode since middle of last season, maybe even longer, where the walker has been the enemy.
Yeah.
Because really and truly, the wolves came in near the end, and obviously the wolves attacked Alexandria. But this episode, their biggest enemy was this herd of walkers that really and truly they brought on themselves.
Right. And it was about time we had the walkers become a stronger presence on the show, right?
Yeah.
They've always been lurking in the shadows, but now they're almost like an army. And if you read the comic books, those scenes of massive amounts of walkers coming at the Rick or his crew are prevalent throughout the whole series of comic books. So it's nice to see it visually and how it works on the show.
What else did you like?
The sound. I thought the score was great. Like, it was a good combination of that 80s synthesizer, like Manhunter type music. For you kids. There was a show called Manhunter, a movie called Manhunter. But it's that whole, it felt very, very similar to like Michael Mann type of music with the 80s and the booming synth underneath everything, synthesizer sound. I thought that was great. Mixed in with obviously the very poetic, possibly end of Glenn, which we'll get to here in a second. That was a good combination that helped the show move along, because it was such a powerful show.
When it was, there's that scene, obviously the Glenn scene, but Lewis is going through that. I always like to call it the Rocky IV.
Oh yeah.
When Rocky IV and everything's slow motion, he's still getting hit and everything, and you hear the one walker go like you hear like the ding of the teeth. That's really cool sound design.
Yeah, it's great.
And these episodes are getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm just, not only with escalation of characters, like you said, and escalation of storyline, but just escalation of production. This show, man, It's something else.
It's building because it's getting so many viewers.
Yeah.
Logically, there's going to be more money pumped into
Yeah.
the show and into the production budget. Quinn, is there anything you didn't like about the show, or any things you didn't like about the show?
Some things I'm questioning now. How Daryl's kind of going a little rogue.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what's going to happen with that. He seems to be butting heads with Rick a little bit. So that's in the back of my mind.
He comes back.
He does come back.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if I foresee any kind of.
I like how in this
Okay.
episode, like I said,
Tension.
Daryl, this is the loudest Daryl has ever spoken.
Yeah.
Simply in volume wise,
Yeah.
because you can't hear the radio over the motorcycle. I'm like, Daryl can speak loud. This is awesome. Yeah.
True.
Is that the only thing you didn't like?
Well, I didn't like the Glenn part, if that's what you're asking.
Well, that's a story.
That
issue as
part
opposed
was
to-
a bummer.
Okay.
But yeah, I
right.
like it. I like when Rick's crews is in sync with each other and they're all like having each other's backs. I don't
Yeah.
like it when there's tension within the group. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when Daryl was questioning Rick, I was getting a little uneasy.
But would you keep watching the show if they didn't have that tension? Would you
course.
want to see a show where everybody's like really happy, getting along?
There's
everything's
nothing
cool?
that will make me stop watching this show.
That's what I'm saying. But I think it makes it more interesting. Obviously,
does,
it
yes,
explores
it
the
does.
storyline.
I
Is there
will
anything
say,
you didn't like?
Sometimes the back and forth. I know it's kind of brand new. The Alexandrians versus the Grimesians.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
It's a Grimian war, if you will. Okay. The back and forth and like, we can't trust them. These guys are wusses. We can't trust them. It's getting a little tiring. But I think because most of the Alexandrians are dying, they're like, okay, I think we got to start listening to Rick now, because
Yeah.
it is. I will agree with you, that does get a little tiring. I think maybe the thing that I disliked, besides, obviously we're all on board with it, we disliked Glenn dying.
Right.
I think the thing that I disliked most was that we didn't. It's another episode where they're standalones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be a continuation, not the same amount of time, but from the outside
Rick,
perspective.
Alexandria,
Yeah.
Rick. So next week, I guess we're gonna finally get them back in
Yeah.
order or something like that. Because I've never been a fan of the whole forget about people in the episode. I always like when they're always, but I get it. Yeah. Because you have to do standalones because they're separated.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're
they're on
introducing new characters
Right.
that you got to give them like
Gotta get to
life
know
and
them.
fill them out, right? Like Ethan, we're seeing Ethan become a bigger and stronger part of the cast now. I mean, the fact that he was having to get verbally spanked by Michonne means that he is going to take on more responsibility. He's going to be seen
Heath.
more. Heath. I'm sorry, Heath, not
Yeah.
Ethan. Right.
And Heath is the least whiny of the
Yes.
Alexandrians, I think.
True.
I will say this is going to sound really frat bro-y of me, but they finally got a really hot girl on the show, and she hurt her ankle running through the woods and died. So
So what you're saying
So
is
that happened.
you don't find Maggie attractive, is what you're saying.
No, but Maggie's taken.
Okay.
Maggie's old
Oh,
news.
oh, I
She's the
see. You
kiss of
want
the
a
Spider-Woman.
single-
Because if she
Okay.
wasn't married to
Black
Glenn, you'd have a
Widow.
shot.
Yeah,
Is
duh.
what you're saying. Duh.
I'm irresistible to all ladies.
They don't call him the wild man for nothing, folks. Okay, I found. I want to see what you guys think of this. It was really interesting. This episode, first of all, it was called "Thank You," which I think is a double meaning for the producers. If Glenn is dead, it's a thank you to Glenn, or the actor rather, Stephen Yeun, for the years that he's put in, because he's been there since season one, almost day one, if I think I'm right on that. And so it probably was that as well. But I thought there was a lot of like bringing it back to the original feeling of the series all through the episode. Like there were these lines, the start of sustainability, the irony of that on the Alexandria sign that was like torn to pieces, and we have no choice. We got to keep going forward. Those kinds of lines, and then stuff that Michonne said to him. You can't just get caught up in this until you've had where you don't know whose blood is on you. You don't understand. So it's like they're going back a little bit.
I did like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it felt it felt very Origin-ish,
Yeah,
you know?
Rick and Glenn on walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
That's how. Isn't that how they met?
Yeah,
Walkie-talkies?
that's what I'm saying. All of this felt like it was going back to kind of season one to late, like the groundwork just a little bit more, and then they're gonna blow.
Because we are really at the crux of a new show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because everybody's dying.
yeah,
We're at a place that Rick finally cares about. We're not constantly on the run anymore. He's trying to save Alexandria. He wouldn't have got all those walkers out of that quarry if he didn't want to save Alexandria.
True. Yeah.
He could have cared less. I mean, he basically lit the governor's town on fire.
Yeah.
They knew they had to get out of the prison. This is finally someplace where he can see. And as much as we always talk ill of Carl, Carl was kind of the one that kind of talked his dad into being like, this is some place that we have to kind of be.
Yeah.
We have a little girl and all this kind of stuff. So the fact that we are back to almost square one, it took us the adventure to get there and to now, but now obviously the characters have gotten to a crazy point of maturation that we're now back to the start of starting a community, all with the mindset of what they have gone through.
Yeah.
And now there's way more to sacrifice in order to get to that community. That's sustainability. Like you said.
Right.
True.
I mean, it's just going to be fascinating to see how they progress to lay this all to go deal with this whole Walker situation. Because once they deal with this, then you've got the wolves. Yeah. The wolves are hanging around. They've already done their attack, so that was kind of like a recon to see what the weaponry, what the defenses are of Alexandria. And now it's like, okay, now when they come again, they're going to come prepared, knowing what's in there, knowing what they have, knowing what the strategy is of the people there.
And we were, talking about this earlier. We're wondering more about the wolves, like. Where do they come from? Why are they so crazy? Why don't they care about anything? Why do they want to hack people? Like, why is there a leader? Do they brainwash people? Like, what's going on there? So I hope
why do they tattoo the W in their head?
Right. That's all the questions about the wolves. And the hard part too is you're fighting a war on two fronts with nowhere near enough soldiers.
Right.
And like any major war in history, when you start fighting the war on two fronts, you lose. And Rick and crew they're in peril. They really are. They lost all their people. Though that scene, come on, when Rick sees the wolves creeping up to the side of the RV, and he just AK-47s. I know that I get my guns wrong. I got crushed in the YouTube comments because I called what Carl had an AK when obviously it was like an assault rifle of whatever. It's an assault rifle.
God.
He clicks that thing and just lights up those people. Oh, come on. That was badass.
That was us, right? And there was a perfect timing for that. Yeah. Because it was right after the death of Glenn. We were recovering as an audience. We're sitting there. We're like, I don't even know if I want to keep watching the show anymore.
It shocked you out of it because you were kind of just like sitting there.
It's shocking to me that they didn't end the episode right when Glenn got eaten.
Right. But I think that was a smart move. I think that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe they saw how people reacted to Game of Thrones when a certain character died. People were like, I'm not watching the show anymore. Screw the show. And I think what Walking Dead does really well is that sometimes they kill off certain characters, main characters, but they find a way to keep you still watching. I mean, the viewership jumped this year. What are we in, season 6?
True.
It's amazing. Season 5. It's amazing.
True.
Season 6.
Real quick in the camper. I'm sorry. I just have to mention it. I love it. I love seeing Rick just like jump into action like that. Two dudes jump up on him, like, and he just lays them both out, kills them without even a second thought. Totally destroys the RV to kill those other people. Like, he moves so fast and thinks so quickly. Like, and after watching the Alexandrians kind of like, jumble around and they're hesitant and they don't know what the hell's going on, to watch him do it like a pro, it's kind of like, that's
right.
And
that's
we said we didn't know when the gun that Morgan let that guy have was going to come back. Right. Had he actually shot Rick and ruined the RV, so dude. Rick is bleeding out. Well, something's going to happen with his hand.
Yeah.
Listen, we should talk about that too.
Yeah,
definitely. Like, okay, so so go ahead. What did you think
what
about
I was going to say is we didn't know when the gun was going to come back. Obviously, the guy shoots at Rick, misses him because he's a wolf and he's not a good shot, and because they don't have guns.
Because they don't have guns, he's not used to it.
Whatever. He shoots the RV, shorts out, so now the RV doesn't work. Rick kills him, whatever. But Rick when he was killing the one zombies, the blade broke and sliced his hand. And there's a lot of arteries that go through your hand. That's why palm readers read your palm, because the like lifelines are supposedly going through your hands, right? He's bleeding out terribly. They don't have any kind of medicine. He's stuck in that RV. Right. The zombies are coming. Something is going to happen with that hand. He might actually end up Luke Skywalkering it and losing that hand. When they get back
he
to the
does lose his hand in the comics, right?
Right.
I like,
so this may be
really
the
quickly. I like how when he's in the RV, he takes the one tissue.
Yeah, right.
Like that's going to do anything. He just grabs one single tissue and puts it in his.
What
palm.
if you like to blow his nose with it and then he blows it in? Yeah. Well, I didn't know. I don't read the comics because I love watching the television show.
Yeah, me too.
And I love talking about the TV show. I don't talk about the comic books, but the fact that he does lose his hand makes sense that this is what happens to him, because he's going to be stuck in that RV for a minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a perfect place for them to end. Another main character in danger, against the odds.
Helicopter shot, zombies swarming.
No way, dude.
And you thought, well, it's a God's eye. And you thought, like, when the Glenn situation, at any point you thought Rick was going to just come careening in there with the RV, run over all the zombies, and save everybody.
That's exactly what I thought.
That's why right, Quinn, and that's exactly why the show kicks ass, because it doesn't take the easy way out a majority of the time. It makes you think a happy ending is coming. It fools you because that's our nature as humans, and then it totally cuts.
Like Survivor said in Rocky IV, there's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. You guys are
there it goes. All right, well, let's get to the big thing. Let's get to it. Yeah.
All right.
Glenn has died. I mean, let's take a moment to talk about this. It was such a great death because we were invested in Nicholas's redemption. We were kind of seeing that from the beginning of this season, that he's trying to make it up to Glenn from what he did, and then they give him this kind of like issue with his brain, issue with his head, and they let that build to at the end when he's standing there and he kills himself. Yeah, which knocks them off that dumpster and
so
into the pool of zombies. What was your reaction? What was your reaction, Quinn?
Go, Quinn.
Typical Nicholas. Like, it's just like, seriously, he's trying to do
#typical.
Classic Nick. No, but it's like he's trying to do the right thing and he still ends up screwing up and screwing Glenn over again. Yeah. And it's funny, they're in this awful situation, and not once did I ever think like, oh, they're gonna die. I always am thinking, ooh, how's Glenn gonna get out of this?
Yeah. What do you think he meant by thank you?
Well, I think because he trusted him again. He like said to him, thank you. I think he said thank you because, that's great.
Because Glenn says something to him.
Glenn trusted him again.
Yeah.
And it meant something for Nicholas to redeem himself to a degree for what he'd done. And
when he's going to kill his friend, he makes him kill his friend. He's like, you're not that guy anymore.
Right.
So I think he kind of like helped him be a better person.
Right. But he took the easy way out. He killed himself while Glenn got to get eaten.
What a punk.
And the whole episode we keep going, don't shoot the zombies, shoot yourself. And the only one to shoot himself is Lewis. And then Lewis shoots himself and he kills Glenn.
Yeah. And I kept waiting because the name of the episode is Thank You. I kept waiting to hear who was going to say it. Yeah. And then Nicholas said it at the perfect time. And you're just like, oh, okay. There you go.
Glenn, he's never, people love Glenn.
Yeah.
Right? He's never out there with like, my favorite character's Glenn. Glenn can always do it. Because Glenn really has been a glutton for punishment a lot of how the show started. He was kind of like a weakling. Yeah. He got with Maggie, but everybody was like, just girls like Glenn? You know what I mean?
Right.
In those first couple of...
Girls like Glenn. I don't know.
Girls like Glenn.
Yes, they do.
Glenn like girl like Glenn. And, whenever something bad kind of happens, Glenn is always around. Right. Glenn always gets abused, and something bad always happens to Glenn. You always want Glenn to win, though, because Glenn is so friggin' likable, and he always thinks of something that's gonna work, and it usually does. Like, in the battle for the jail, Glenn was awesome in the battle for the jail. And... He's just always by Rick's side. He always agrees with Rick because he knows that Rick is leading in the right way. And if he does question Rick, it's not so much Rick's doing it wrong. It's like, what can we do? What else can we do to make sure that Rick looks like he's doing it correctly? This one just hit, man. This is a burn. This is a burn. And I don't want to sound cocky here, but I predicted this, and I was just going to
bring that up. I was just going to bring that up. We had talked about it last week about who we thought might be coming up, who might be passing away next. And you said it was either Glenn or Maggie because anyone who Maggie cares about dies.
Yeah. All of her siblings, her father.
Right.
And now Glenn. Maggie's the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Maggie is the Black Widow.
Well, she's not married to everybody.
Yeah, but she's
still a Black Widow.
Still a Black Widow.
Don't ruin this.
I had no other term for it.
Quinn, what do you think about this? What do you think the repercussions are for Maggie now, if this is true? Which we'll get to in a minute.
I know that I would have preferred anybody to die before Glenn, except for Rick. Anybody to die before Glenn, which is awful to say, but it's true. I don't think that she's going to take the news very well.
Well, obviously. Especially if she's pregnant.
I'm nervous for everybody to hear. He's like
He's a rock.
He's everybody's rock. He's the sure thing. He's like the ultimate, and that's the other thing. A lot of the characters have gone through, they've done bad things and good things.
Yeah.
And Carol's done some awful things. Daryl's done some awful things. Glenn, just a nice dude, smart guy. He survived this long, and I don't know. And this was a bad way for him to go too.
He's Bob Seger. He's like a rock, man. He's right in there.
He's killing it today. Well,
I think what's great about Glenn is that Glenn was a pizza delivery driver. right? He had no business surviving this zombie apocalypse, but piece by piece, he's learned, he's stepped up, he's grown, he's matured to where he's almost like a Rick Jr. in terms of a leader, right? Yep. He can lead bands into certain areas, and Rick trusts him enough to do that. And we as the audience trust him enough too, because he's really grown into it. So to see this happen because of a benevolent situation, you saw his hesitation that he did not want Nicholas to come with him. When Nicholas offered, Glenn's face was like,
not this guy again.
I know I should because I have to, but he did not want to have him come in, and so this unfortunately is possibly the consequences of doing that.
As he's getting eaten by zombies, the thought running through his head is, how did I possibly get convinced to bring Lewis in with me? And Michonne now is the rock, because there was, when Rick was always freaking out, obviously at the end of season 5 there, when Michonne knocked out Rick as he was doing the, you got it, and he's freaking out.
Kick me out.
Yeah, you gotta kick me out. Awesome. That she knocks him out and is the voice of reason. And Glenn and Michonne and Rick were always like the trifecta of like, this is what's going to happen. We need to get to here. How are we going to do it? Right. Now that Glenn's gone, man, I just hate thinking about the show without Glenn. It really hurts. It really does.
I think go ahead, Quinn. Yeah.
I know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I'm like watching it and then talking about it directly after. It's tough. Yeah. It's a tough one.
This is a great point. That's actually very true, Quinn. And this is something you brought up, Josh, just right now. It's a really good point. And you're a Rick lover, Quinn. Rick. I am a Rick. Everybody is better by getting to know Rick. Yeah. Even when Rick is an asshole or he makes mistakes or he takes it too far. Michonne, he dragged Michonne back from almost a suicidal, self-destructive thing. He matured Glenn. Everybody who's
Herschel.
Herschel, right? All those things. Yeah. Rick has been this driving force, even as he deals with his own demons.
He gave Herschel the confidence to rock an adult ponytail.
There you go. Right.
Yep. And a hipster beard.
And a hipster beard. Right. Don't talk about beards.
Well, listen, we love that we get the Twitter questions from you guys. We look forward to them every week because it's like it gives us something to talk about, and it's like another look at the show or another angle to take on the show. So we should get to those now. Yeah. Can we bring up the first one? All right, this is from DC. Is that D.D. Ludlum? Or
Dallas Ludlum.
Dallas Ludlum. There we go.
Good guy.
The show keeps us guessing with major characters' deaths, as we saw today, but it takes a toll, too. How many more seasons can it do it? Quinn.
Well, a lot. I mean, they have to kill off certain characters. Not everybody can live.
Right.
That's not plausible. They've been pretty strategic about it in the past, and it's all made sense. Tonight, I don't agree with their choices, obviously. But it was dramatic. Our reactions, which I assume were the same as everybody watching the show, were
unless you're a cold-hearted snake,
unless you have no soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were pretty intense. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. This is.
Yeah, but how many more seasons do you think they can do it? How many more seasons can they keep doing
Walking
this?
Dead?
Yeah, can they keep doing this, do you think? And maintain the audience's interest?
Well, we're on the 6th season, and I'm shocked. Like, it's the first time I've ever seen the show. Right. So they're doing something right.
Right. Josh?
10 seasons in a movie.
Hashtag it.
10 seasons in a movie. I'm with you on this one. I don't know how many more of these deaths I can take. And they're going to have to start introducing some sustainable characters to bring that word back, because we can't keep having the red shirt. We can't keep having, this a character like, oh, I think I liked it. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Right.
And you need some more members of the crew. With the wolves attacking and everybody, there's got to be some sort of. We can't keep losing everybody. It's like can't lose you.
I would say as long as they can keep introducing characters that we care about, connect to, have some kind of emotional attachment to, and then you have the right showrunners, you have the right writers on your staff. I think the possibilities of them maintaining this for seasons upon seasons is certainly possible. And I think because the zombie threat is never going to be cured. That's the thing. That's the one thing you know about this show. The zombies are never going to be cured. They're never going to find a way out. So it's just about living day to day. And as long as they can keep the dramatic tension and give us characters we care about, they can keep doing this season after season. All right, let's get to the second one. All right, this is from Derek Laswell. Do you think Glenn is dead? Dun, dun, dun. I think the walkers were eating the guy that fell on top of him, Nicholas. He might still be alive. Macuga.
Well,
awesome answer.
Well, I guess like somebody record that and make it their ringtone.
Please.
I don't. Glenn wouldn't be screaming if he wasn't being eaten.
Was
Really?
he screaming though?
Yeah.
I feel like he was just like, ugh.
Well,
Well,
it seems like screaming to me. I don't
do that
know.
again in the
I'm not.
camera?
Nope. I know. That was.
No, he's dead. As much as I don't want to, if he comes back and he's alive, I will have a little bit of problem with this show.
Yeah?
I really will, because
It wouldn't seem logical to
okay,
you.
if they're eating Lewis, they're eventually going to get to Glenn. I know we said that you remember the time when they like covered
Why do you keep
themselves
calling
in
him Lewis?
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Oh,
whatever.
Sorry.
I don't. What Lewis?
It's
Nicholas.
fine. It's fine. I'm
keep
sorry.
going. Just keep going.
Here we go.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Nicholas gets eaten. Glenn is going to be found and be eaten. There's too many zombies there. Too many walkers, roamers, whatever they're calling them these days, to not eat Glenn. And,
Okay.
and even if Glenn survived, he can't just like wander out past the zombies.
Right. Quinn?
Well, in my heart, I hope that he's alive because I love Glenn. He's one of my favorite characters. The only thing I can think of, we were saying earlier, is maybe he would be covered in so much blood and guts from the other walkers and Nicholas that they won't really notice him, like he and Rick did in the first season, how they like covered themselves in blood and they kind of didn't really notice them. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Got our hopes up with the question.
I know.
Well, I think Glenn is dead. I think it's a perfect ending for Glenn, even the way they shot it. I think the slow motion of it all. I don't think they'd have put us through his emotional, powerful death if he wasn't really dead. That's kind of a terrible trick to pull on the audience. And although Walking Dead does give you swerves every once in a while, I think it would be kind of an asshole move if they really did it this way, because we all reacted in a very visceral, emotional way when it happened, and to kind of twist it around, it might not leave us with a good feeling that he did survive and that we're happy he's back from some insane anomaly. Because I don't think even coding himself, because they're going to eat through Nicholas and get to Glenn within seconds.
That's true.
You know, that many
no way.
walkers?
Too many.
Yeah.
No way. I think there's too many shows like Game of Thrones where you're like, maybe, you know, so we're in that mindset.
Right.
But it's like, no, it's not.
Not
the
to pull
same.
another Rocky reference out here, but in Rocky 2, remember when it's at the end of the fight and they both fall down on the mat?
Sure.
That last shot of Nicholas and Glenn had that same kind of look to it.
did.
Like the falling and then they're falling slow motion together. I mean, he's dead. I'm just saying that was a cool shot.
Right, because they both kept going on in Rocky because there were no zombies in the ring. All right, let's do our third question.
Enough blood in the ring.
This comes from Josh Pescatore. I will say it that way.
Pescatore.
R.I.P. Glenn. Do you think Maggie will lose her mind now that her husband, sister, and father are dead? Quinn.
Yes, I think everybody will lose their mind.
Okay.
I do. I don't know how anybody's going to be able to move on from this simply because we said he is the Rock. He's so close with everyone. He keeps everybody stable. So this is going to be a very tough situation, I think, for the rest of the crew.
Well, okay. Josh?
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what do you think Maggie, how do you think Maggie is going, like, what do you think will happen to her? Will she become like just a complete depressed vegetable? Will she kind of take this in stride and then blow up 6 episodes later? Like, what do you think Maggie's reaction is going to be?
I don't know, man. That's so tough. I don't know. I'm trying to think about what direction I can't see her overcoming this.
Okay.
There's been too many deaths around her. Like,
Right.
you know, and Glenn's been there for her to get her through this, and now she has nobody to get her through this. I mean, unless she bonds with Deanna because they both lost their hubbies.
That's true.
True.
All right. Macuga.
Well, I think maybe Maggie 3 seasons ago would have lost her mind.
Okay.
I think Maggie in the end of last season, the beginning of this season, has been extremely tough.
Yeah.
Mentally tough, rounding up the troops and realizing full well that this world, nothing is permanent. I don't think she's going to per se lose her mind. She's not going to go kind of Sasha and just start killing everybody.
Laying in piles of dead bodies.
Right. Yeah. Weirdly
Zombie
enough, I smoke rocks, Joe Rogan. Like, no. But there's going to be some sort of crazy fallout. I want to know maybe like because in season 2 when Carol lost her daughter and nobody was sure if the walkers got her or not.
Sophia.
Yeah.
Sophia. Will because we don't know if Glenn's dead or not, and they can't go back to the town, and they may not find him or something if they like find a zombie Glenn or they see, or if like they're still holding out for hope, and then we get one of those episodes where it's a big reveal and like you see Glenn zombified.
That would be heartbreaking.
That would be
sure.
hard for Maggie,
Yeah.
and if she has to kill him, everybody's like, oh, it's Glenn. That will send her for a loop. But I think holding out hope is all they really have,
right?
Shawshank Redemption style,
I think Maggie's not. I think Maggie's obviously going to take it and be incredibly emotional and lose what was kind of her last anchor, in a sense, to her family. But I think this is a way. I think what they're doing with her character, which I think is awesome, is they're toughening her up. Yeah. They're almost making her another leader along the vein of Carol. And this is what's happening, right? Carol, Michonne, Maggie as well now is going to step into this
powerful females.
And this is happening. And more, I've talked about this on numerous shows, how more and more we're seeing women become more central to these franchises, and they're carrying it, and people are liking it, organically liking it, and still watching it and being all for it. And I think this is a great move. If Glenn is really dead, I think this is a fantastic move for Maggie's character, and we'll see her go through this through the whole season. So it gives us another reason to watch, because we'll be going through her pain as well as an audience, because we love Glenn so much. And it's a smart move by the showrunner, Scott Gimple.
One thing I was thinking about when you were talking about introducing new characters, I was trying to think back, like, okay, so we have Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita, and Glenn's
Sasha.
friend.
Glenn's friend.
The one who lost her leg, the one who was with the governor in Woodbury. Anyway. They're like their main characters.
Yeah.
But do we feel for them the way we feel for Daryl and Carol
And
yet?
Rick.
And Rick? Like, do we feel for Abraham and Eugene and Rosita that way yet?
Abraham for sure, Rosita for sure, Eugene. I mean, he's more comic.
You hate Eugene. That's been clear on the show that you do not like
I'm not
Eugene.
A big Eugene fan.
There
I mean,
we go.
He's just like there. I mean, he's funny comic relief, I guess. But if he got killed, I'd be like, about time.
Oh, all right.
But the other ones, yeah, I have an emotional attachment to those people, because they've in this wackiness of this world, there's some actual normal people out there, and it's good that they found them.
Yeah. Well, I think they're also going to, and this is something you bring up that's really good point, Quinn. I think now clearing the space of Glenn out and clearing out some of the other characters, they're going to do that with their storylines, give them things to do, give them ways to build up, to make us connect to them, so that when their deaths happen, and they will happen, we will feel it just as we felt Glenn, or maybe close to how we felt Glenn.
Yeah.
All right, that's the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I think we went through everything we could go through. We're going to try
for
and
calling him Lewis, guys. I'm sorry.
It's
Nicholas.
Will
my
you
bad.
call him? It's not going to matter.
It ends in an S.
It's fine. We got it, dude.
It's okay.
He's good. He's dead. It's fine.
Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We love it that you're tuning in to watch us talk about the show, and that you're seeing us go through the cathartic process of losing Glenn, because we're all going to go take shots now and wear black and cry into our beers.
He's already wearing black.
Yeah. Where can everybody find you, Quinn?
You guys can find me on Twitter at @QuinnMarie_. Any questions are always welcome. R.I.P. Glenn.
And Josh.
At Josh Macuga on Twitter and Instagram. You guys can see me on the Arrow Recap Show and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here on Collider, and my YouTube channel, Between the Sheets TV. So when you see me commenting on your comments, when you see Between the Sheets, that's me.
And you can follow me at The Rocha Says. I'm on a number of shows, and I talk about them all the time, so you can get annoyed by that or like that, whatever you want to do if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter. And once again, if you're going to send us your comments, your points of views, you're angry at Josh for saying Lewis instead of Nicholas, whatever you want to do, that Quinn couldn't find that person's name, Glenn's name, I couldn't, Glenn's friend's name. I didn't know that either. So please make those comments, or hashtag us at Collider Walking Dead, and we will read them, get back to you, comment. We love doing that. So thanks a lot for watching us, and we'll see you next week. And R.I.P. Glenn.